But Scott, another very important event in partnership with Freedom Initiative
That's right.
is Responsibility in Government and Coalition for Free and Fair Elections. Tell us about this event.
Absolutely. And my pleasure to tell you about this event. Mark, we're going to get 500 police officers, Chicago area police officers, into Trump Hotel on November 20th, Saturday, November 20th, and we're going to teach them and train them and motivate them to become election judges. Mark, there's a real problem in Cook County and really all the Chicagoland area with a lack of election judges and a lack of care, a lack of line up like they used to, I guess, and we want to change that. We want to put cops, teach them to be election judges, motivate them to sign up and to serve in their precincts, to be election judges, observers, maybe precinct captains, and really start to change how the electoral process, works in Cook County.
For those that may not understand, explain how important an election judge is and why it's so significant to have an election judge at these precincts.
Right. So there's supposed to be 5 election judges in every precinct, and it's a mixture of Republicans and Democrats. 2 and 3 usually, depending on prior elections. But if you look at in most precincts, there's not 5 election judges, and there's most certainly not 2 Republican election judges. There's oftentimes people appointed to fill those roles, students oftentimes. An example is a teacher who may be a Democrat election judge will bring in some of her own students to serve as the other election judges. So, a situation that sounds good on paper, but it's not. There's supposed to be 5 of those differing viewpoints to ensure that a fair and free election takes place. And election judges are, they're essentially deputized by the clerk of the circuit courts to enforce the election law in the polling place. And so if they see something, they can challenge signatures, and if they see something, they're supposed to stop it. If you think of a police officer, even a retired law enforcement officer as an election judge, it's really the most ideal person you could have in that role, in that room, because they're trained to enforce the law, and they're trained to confront situations and to de-escalate situations. They're really kind of the solution, I believe, for Cook County's election judge problem.
That's fantastic, and people many know this, but for those that don't, a lot of funny business happens at these polling places, and having election judges at every polling place, particularly where it's needed in Chicago, it helps sort of eliminate or reduce some of that funny business that goes on, because I'm sure in some of these locations aren't even Republican election judges at any of these polling places, and that's when the cat's away, the mice will play.
That's right.
Right? And so this is so important. Listen, you've got a great lineup.
It's an incredible lineup
of guests. Tell us about who's the keynote.
Well, I thought we'd say that for last, but absolutely. The keynote speaker is Bernard Kerik, the 40th Police Commissioner of New York City, the commissioner on 9/11. Just really excited to be having him in. And, Mark, thank you for help coordinate that for us. And, Bernie is apparently has something to say about election law. But
That's right.
But I think we all know he probably is going to talk about 9/11, and that's certainly something that the police officers want to hear about too, and it's certainly a big draw for coming in. I look at this event as it's going to be a workshop. It's going to have some substantive stuff, but it's really about networking with police officers of multiple departments across Chicagoland. It's about a really good afternoon on the 16th floor of Trump Tower. Great food and beverage. And and the event will conclude with Bernie Kerik. We have a number of speakers, and Mark, actually, you're going to be a speaker at our event.
That's right, and an MC, I think, right?
I think you may be the MC.
Very good. I think I can handle that. I think this is an audition. Am I auditioning right now to be the MC for this event? No, but you've also lined up some incredible special guests.
Right.
Any of the gubernatorial candidates, will they be there?
Yeah, so we've invited all the elected officials. Governor Pritzker, Mayor Lightfoot,
Oh, interesting.
Secretary of State Jesse White, Kim Fox. We've invited Kim Fox. I have not heard from any of these elected officials yet, but I'm confident that we will have some presence from the city or state in the room. But we have invited all of the Republican gubernatorial candidates, and all of them will be attending in some manner. I'm really excited about that. So we will have Jesse Sullivan, we will have Gary Rabine, we will have Paul Schimpf, and then Darren Bailey is actually committed to a fundraiser in Rockford at the same time, but he is sending his wife Cindy. So we will have a presence from all of them at the event.
And don't underestimate the power of the spouse or the wife
absolutely.
in this, because my goodness, you're also electing their spouse, because
Right.
the spouse becomes one of the most influential and important advisors in any administration. And I know that during the Trump administration, Scott, you probably know this as well. How many people tried to get to Melania,
Oh, sure, everyone.
right? Because as soon as you got to Melania, I mean, game over. Whatever you were looking for, if you got to her, whatever you needed was probably going to get done. It'll be interesting that to see J.B. Pritzker walk through Trump Tower. I mean,
I'm too fat.
I can't imagine that happening. However, if you did say that there was going to be an all-you-can-eat buffet, maybe Governor Pritzker would show up.
So would I.
Yeah, well, George would show up as well. Well, listen, I think, and we're going to be talking more about this, but the event is Saturday, November 20th at Trump International Hotel and Tower. The workshop is from 12:30 p.m. to 4 o'clock p.m., and then there is a VIP reception
That's right.
from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Where can people get tickets?
Right. If you go to responsibilityingovernment.com, there's more information. That's where you can also purchase VIP tickets. Tickets for police officers are free, and we're also including parking, covering the parking for police officers. All of that, there's a link to register at responsibilityingovernment.com.
Excellent. We're talking to Scott Kaspar, lawyer and founder of Responsibility in Government, and he's got an incredible event coming up on November 20th. We'll discuss this and more coming back when we come back.